with us here on Court TV. I'm Julie Grant. So next week, two big, and I mean big, trials are set to get underway, and we're covering both of them for you. In Colorado, Leticia Stauch, remember her? The stepmom accused of murdering her stepson. She's set to go on trial. She's accused of first-degree murder and the death of 11-year-old Gannon, her stepson. Now, court filings fail to give any explanation for Gannon's death, and Stauch has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. And if you're not familiar with this story, don't worry, we've got you covered. Here's Court TV lead anchor, Vinnie Politan.
This person, the stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done.
March 2nd, 2020, Colorado authorities announce an arrest in the disappearance of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. His stepmother, Leticia.
Leticia Stauch was taken into custody in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina without incident by law enforcement officers from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office.
On January 27th, 2020, Leticia Stauch called 911 after she says Gannon went to visit a friend and didn't return home. Hours after the call was made, police searched the home and found no sign of him. State and local police, as well as family and friends, began searching the countryside for Gannon.
The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says they've gotten more than 300 tips related to this case. Today, they re-canvassed the Stauch's neighborhood to make sure any neighbors that might not have been around for that first round of interviews were spoken to today.
With his mother pleading for his return.
A kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is.
Days after Gannon disappeared, police returned to his home and searched again.
When executing a search warrant, investigators were able to essentially follow a trail of blood that began in Gannon's bedroom, led them all the way down to the garage.
They found blood stains on Gannon's mattress and blood spatter on a light socket near his bed. They also found evidence of blood in the garage and near where officers observed Leticia's car parked when they first searched the home. On January 29th, Leticia Stauch was 2 hours late to speak with police. She showed up with her car freshly washed, and she had a news story about what happened to Gannon. She claimed that a Hispanic man named Eduardo had come to the house, raped her, and kidnapped him. She later spoke to a reporter with KKTV before she rented a van and left the state.
I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, but I've cooperated with them.
During the month of February, police continued their search for Gannon while Leticia Stauch stayed with her family in South Carolina. His remains had not yet been recovered when his stepmother was charged with his murder in early March.
Charge 1, murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age by a person in a position of trust. Child abuse resulting in death. Tampering with a deceased human body and tampering with physical evidence.
2 weeks after her arrest, Gannon Stauch's body was found in a suitcase that was left under a bridge in Pensacola, Florida.
When the sergeant from Florida arrived, he saw a suitcase opened and a body wrapped inside of blankets. It appeared to be the body of a small boy. A flyer was brought to the sergeant's attention. It was the flyer of Gannon Stauch. And the sergeant did say there were some similarities between the picture, the actual body, dental features, height, weight, approximate age.
A Florida pathologist performed Gannon's autopsy.
She noted 1 gunshot wound, 1 skull fracture, and 18 sharp force wounds, including those on the arms and hands, so likely those defensive wounds.
Leticia Stauch was extradited back to Colorado from South Carolina. She is facing more than a dozen charges in Gannon's death and has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. But that is no comfort to Gannon's mother.
Today, I got the worst news and the best news. Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served. And I'll make sure that justice is served because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him.
So heartbreaking, isn't it? Now, court will be streaming these proceedings with Leticia Stauch, and we will be bringing you all of the must-see moments here on Court TV Live. And Stauch, as you know, isn't the only alleged bad mom going on trial, because on Monday, you guessed it, cult mom goes to trial. She's set to be judged by a jury of her peers that they're going to start picking on Monday. She's accused of murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The 3 people dead include 2 of her kids and her 5th husband's first wife. Now, this case has captured the nation's attention really since the beginning, since those kids were missing. The nation was wondering where they were. Searches were happening. And there are lots of questions raised about who exactly Lori Vallow Daybell is. Well, guess what? Court TV looked into her background. Here's Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter with more on Cult Mom.
Lori Noreen Cox was born in San Bernardino, California in 1973. She and her brother Alex grew up in a Mormon family. Lori has been married 5 times. She was reportedly only 19 years old when she got married the first time. In the mid-90s, she had her first child, Colby, with her second husband. Lori then married Joseph Ryan in 2001. He legally adopted Colby, and they had Tylee. But the marriage did not last. 5 years after their divorce, Lori married her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. The couple adopted his grandnephew, JJ, in 2014. And by all accounts, Lori was a loving and devoted mother.
Lori was a good mother. When JJ was young, you couldn't ask for a better mother.
While married to Charles, she began an affair with religious author and leader Chad Daybell. Lori was soon a devoted member of Daybell's cult-like group.
Their focus is just so much on the end of the world and, you know, this idea that it's coming.
In July 2019, Charles Vallow was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox.
It was so fast. All that was so fast. Like, I'm on the ground rolling around and I'm screaming.
Lori married Chad that November in 2019. Now, Lori Daybell, in jail since 2020, no longer lives a life as a wife or a mother. She is inmate number 011-38519 and may very well spend the rest of her life behind bars.
Oh, these cases are going to be good. We are all over them. Tweet us right now. Let us know how you think these cases are going to go. Let me bring in my guests again for some more discussion. Attorney Kelly Hyman and Sergeant Melissa Pingleton on the show this morning. Okay, let's talk about cult moms, shall we, and how this one is going to go down. Kelly Hyman, what would be your legal strategy if you were on the team representing Lori Vallow Daybell? How would you go about it? What would the defense be? Kind of walk us through the legal theory you might present here, please.
Absolutely. Well, first, my thoughts and prayers go out to the family. This is a sad situation. Well, as we all know, the prosecution has the burden to prove their case. So the one main contention would be that the prosecutor has not proved all the elements of the crime. So that would be the first key strategy. So you want to poke holes at the evidence that the prosecution presents in order to show that they have not established their cause of action. So that would be the main one that from a defense standpoint would look at, and then that would be the main key thing. And if there is any other circumstantial evidence that could be potentially used as well. But that would be the main one, is to strike holes in the prosecution's case and saying that they did not prove their case.
Let me bounce this off of you, please, Sergeant Pingleton. I'm thinking if I were repping Lori Vallow Daybell, what I would go with is pointing the finger at the guy who's not there. Old Uncle Alex Cox. Do you think we're going to see some of this? I know we've talked a lot about it on this show. He's deceased, but his name is in these indictments, just like Lori's and Chad's, and accused of taking part in this conduct. And he was, he was very close with Lori. What do you think?
Absolutely, and I agree with what my colleague said. You want to poke holes in the evidence, and you want to try and make sure that the prosecution does not prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But my strategy would be blaming this guy. She didn't do it. This guy did it, and here's why this guy did it. Or even blaming her husband, or the uncle. But absolutely blaming somebody else, showing that I think you're going to see that. They're going to claim she was a victim, that she was brainwashed. I think you're going to see a lot of that play into this. The victimology, the brainwashing, domestic violence victim possibly. I think you're going to see a lot of those things in her defense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. If they're smart, they're going to blame Alex Cox. If they're smart, that's what they're going to do. And the prosecution better be ready for it. If they're smart, they're going to say, no, 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 no. He was her protector, her fixer, big brother, always looking out for his little sister, would have done anything, even kill for her. So that's where I think it's going to go. Early call on this one. We'll see. We have to leave it there for now, but thank you, ladies. It's been wonderful having you on the show. Thank you, Kelly Hyman. Thank you, Sergeant Melissa Pingleton. We'll see you both back here very soon.